record that an executive session was held prior to the meeting pursuant to IC 5-4-1.5.61B. We certified that the items discussed were related to information concerning issues that were posted on our executive session notice. Roll call, please.
Board President Hewlett.
Present.
Board Secretary Goffin.
Present.
Board Member Ruby.
Present.
Board Member Robinson.
Present.
Board Member Scott Henry.
Present.
Board Member McKenzie.
Present.
Board Member Tolbert.
Here.
All present, have more.
7 present, we do have a quorum. Item number 2, approval of the board meeting minutes dated July 10th, 2025. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Let's all stand and face the flag in the rear, behind you.
The baseball.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, item number 2, please. Approval of the GPTC general.
To approve the board meeting, minutes meeting dated July 10th, 2025.
I'll second.
It's been moved and properly second that we accept the meeting minutes dated July 10th, 2025. Are there any questions, any discussion? There being none, roll call.
Board President Hewlett.
Yes.
Board Secretary Goffin.
Yes.
Board Member Ruby.
Abstain as I was not present.
Board Member Robinson.
Yes.
Board Member Scott Henry.
Abstain.
Board Member McKenzie.
Abstain.
Board Member Tolbert.
Yes.
We have 4 yeses, 3 abstain.
Minutes are approved. Item number 3, approval of GPTC general check register schedules dated July 1 through July 31st, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Tolbert.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we accept the general check register schedules for July 1st and 31st. Is there any discussion? Are there any discussions, any questions?
Could you read the amount into the record too?
There being none, roll call.
Board President Hewlett.
Yes.
Board Secretary Goffin.
Yes.
Board Member Ruby.
Abstain.
Board Member Robinson.
Yes.
Board Member Scott Henry.
Yes.
Board Member McKenzie.
Yes.
And Board Member Tolbert.
Yes.
We have 6 yeses and 1 abstain.
Motion approved. Item number 4, approval of GPTC Metro Center check register schedules dated July 1 through July 31st, 2025.
Moved as stated.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded that we accept the check registers schedules dated July 1 through July 31st, 2025. Is there any discussion, any questions to the motion? There being none, roll call.
Board President Hewlett.
Yes.
Board Secretary Goffin.
Yes.
Board Member Ruby.
Abstain.
Board Member Robinson.
Yes.
Board Member Scott Henry.
Yes.
Board Member McKenzie.
Yes.
Board Member Tolbert.
Sorry.
Board Member Tolbert. Oh. Huh? We have 6 votes yes, 1 abstain.
Motion is approved. Item number 5, general manager and departmental reports. Return this meeting over to our interim general manager, Mrs. Dillard.
Good evening, Madam President and board members. Thank you. So we've had a busy month. July not only was hot, we had some infrastructure issues. So we just got some of that resolved, but I wanted to really thank the staff for being very cooperative. We lost our air conditioning on the 3rd floors totally at one point, but finance was in dire situations. We have had a lot of working with our partner, the city of Gary, in getting this taken care of. It isn't going to be a fast process, but everybody's working together to try to get it done. We're working with Mechanical Concept, who was the piece that was procured from, can you hear me? Please speak up. Speak up? I'm sorry. I'll use my audible voice. Okay. We are working with the Mechanical Concept, and Mechanical Concept is working through the city of Gary with us. The purpose was so that we could rapidly move this. We're also part of the payment process. To our new members, part of what we have is that we are the landlord to this building. This building, however, is owned by the city of Gary. So in working the landlord, working here, we take care and make sure that things are done, that there are, people that are informed. You shouldn't have a bathroom that's not working and nobody knows it. Okay, so we are watching that, but we also negotiated some new tenants coming back here, which was, I think, our strongest point. And that was, we brought Greyhound back. They never left totally, they just never paid for being. And we brought them back. They are now paying monthly for their rent, but they also came back and agreed to pay for infrastructure. So what we did, we created a new bathroom, a family bathroom that was supposed to be used as a temporary while the men's restroom is being repaired totally. The women's bathroom is going to be upgraded, but not totally torn out like the men's bathroom. That has the papers, the architect has done that. Mr. Pruitt, who is our project lead, has approved those. I've signed those as well so that we can get those down to the state and get our state seal. Those then are in progress. The other thing that Greyhound was doing was we decided that we needed to clean up by having 24/7 security. Greyhound said, absolutely, what do you need? So they came as a good partner. And so we want to continue that relationship. They're going to bring some new seats in for our bus station as they have collapsed some of their area. So we're excited about that. But they got only about 30 more days to tell us what that means in terms of numbers, because we need to order our own. They aren't really having enough to do what we want to do. The other vending pieces have to do with actually the staff, not vendors, I'm sorry, partners. There's staff from Greyhound that actually is working with us on the 2nd floor. So they're taking some space for their regional people to come in here. And so that's really good. So not only did they get 6 slots for Greyhound to park, they also have about 30 buses that are coming through here now instead of 3. And they've increased Flex.com. Flex.com is their new bus for chartering. And you will see the big green bus, that's them. We still have groups like Barron. You'll see their buses occasionally coming as well. But this, again, it keeps a moving piece here as far as not just regional, but local. You see what's happening. And so much of it is about destination. For Greyhound, you're talking Michigan, Illinois, Minnesota, Wisconsin. That's a huge increase in the territory that they were covering. So we're really glad. We're working. We're going to have a group meeting with both leadership teams, and that's to talk about them as a corporate community partner. Because when we actually signed the contract, them being a corporate partner is a part of that. So they're going to see what have we done with the money you've given us. They'll see those things, including an escalator, which we're still working on. It's like an old car that you're trying to get to work. You fix two hoses and two of the other hoses go out. So it's horrible, but to have it as a whole piece being restructured was going to be 300, twice as much, twice as much. So we're hopeful that we will get it going. We already know we want it to go just up because they already told us you can't change it back and forth. That'll wear it out. So we just wanted to come up from the first floor, go to the second, period. So that's what we're trying to get to. Those are some of the things with the pieces, with the Metro budget. One of the things that we're doing is we're starting to work on the property. And we did write a letter saying that, not sure why, and I'm sure it's always about money and workforce, why suddenly there wasn't the maintenance of the outside. If you notice, the building is looking a little weedy. And so we want to make sure we get that down. So we brought someone in who is going to do that. And Greyhound said, absolutely. Mr. Washington said, we've got it. Let's get it done. And we're going to go ahead and get that taken care of as well. So that's been a really good relationship that we're going to continue working with. There's a lot of interest in people wanting to partner with us on programs, on tools, especially. What do you mean by that? For HR? So you know that we saved $900,000 by consolidating and not rehiring when positions were eliminated. But that was just the accordion blowing out the air. But now as we're growing, we've got to pull it. We've got to pull it, and we have to bring some people in. But we also need to increase our market level. So we've done that. We've produced a lot of things to the board to say, this is where your market is. This is what you should have to start looking at what you're paying. And why that was very important was with collective bargaining. We have come to the table with our union. They have agreed on the areas of concern. We have agreed. We have gotten that ready, and we're ready to put that in place as of September. So we will bring that to you. And I think that we've made a good resolution for all parties. I think there were a number of things there regarding operators, regarding mechanics, that we had to get to market to make people want to work here. And so we have been able to do that. And we've hired Mr. Dennis, has definitely with Mr. Kane and Barnes and Mr. Riley Stewart, they have worked hard in making sure that operations is working, even when they say that we're having some problems, and the problem is with rolling stock. We came here with 5 or 6 buses actually on the street. We now have about 16 and need probably another 16 for the growth that we're talking about, because they're older buses. So when you see me come back and talk about spending another 20 million on rolling stock, that's why. Because yes, we have buses on the street, but they're 214. This 214, those are old buses. And you don't have a chance to let them rest, because you don't have enough to say, put these down for 2 hours, put this one down for a day. You don't have that time here. Once they wake up in the morning from 5:15 to 11 o'clock at night, they're on the street. So these are the things that when we talk the supply line and working with the supply chain, that's why it's important that from procurement, we get things ordered now, because we know that it's going to take a good 18 months. If you get it before then, hallelujah. But we know by what we have experienced, it is 18 months. And we have to wait 1.5 years to get buses. That's a long time. Again, if they come in before that, wonderful. But right now, we've been waiting for some vans that were supposed to be delivered in July. Now we find out they're not coming to September. They were ordered in 24. So these are the things that you can't necessarily get frustrated and change. So you have to change how you do business. If you know it's going to take 1 year, then don't wait till you need it. Order it in a cycle So you know you're cycling in, cycling out, cycling in, cycling out. You get to 500,000 or 200,000 miles. If that's a dead bus, don't keep rolling it and then get mad because it breaks down. It already told you to retire me. Okay. So if you don't have the money, you do what you have to do. By grace, that's not our problem right now. Our problem is structuring organization so that we follow a forecast that'll get us there soundly. There's some really good things going on that the staff will share with you. I want to tell you that in marketing, we got to deal with visibility, and a lot of that visibility is signage. I have driven from 4th to 102nd, turning on 73rd, going all the way to Cherville, and then all the way east and all the way Hobart, west, east and west. And the thing that I see is we are signage shy. So we are working on that because it needs to be, the signage can be, yes, this is a bus stop, but we also are talking about QR codes, things you can scan to find out what routes are available, what changes have come up. If you visit other high moving transit systems, it's not all paper. It is looking at things and quickly, particularly if you're looking at younger generations. And a lot of the younger generations aren't riding the bus here, but trust me, when they go to bigger cities, they get on the bus. And so we have to become, Indiana is not a public transit hub of knowledge in terms of what they do with public transportation, but it's teachable. It's teachable. You know, when you start looking at things and saying, here's how you connect your economic development. If you've got an increase in your population of 26%, people are coming to work. People are not just coming to go to the park. People want to get to schools. People want to get to entertainment. When we asked the veterans what they wanted, and we did a survey to see what they were interested in, it was not the hospitals, it was socialization. We don't want to be alone. We want to get with our comrades and have a good time and get with other veterans and go visit them when they're sick. That's what they want. And that's ADA paratransit, and it's securing our routes to be accessible and connected. So that's a lot of what we're working with. I want to move on to HR a little bit. I mentioned that we're looking at marketing, and marketing is going to be involving the recruitment of staff as well. Mr. Dennis always looks at internal first, always. You know, you want to look at the internal. So we've had a lot of movement in the last month or so because they've been internal moves to different positions. We were also understanding that there's some things that are not necessarily where they need to be. And that's not a bad thing. It's just something we learn from. And we want to make sure that people have what they need to be best choice and able to perform in that capacity. So those are some of the IT things that we're working with. I would say one of the biggest challenges right now will continue to be the infrastructure and the securing of rolling stock. Those will be your pieces that you hear us talk about often. So to that, if there isn't any question for me at this particular time, I'll start with finance, and we can talk to some of the things that went on with our grants and the consolidation of grants for this past month.
Good afternoon, Madam President and members of the board. I want to start this afternoon by briefly going over the June 30th, 2025 budget to actual financial report. I'm going to do a cursory review, and if you have any questions, you can address them to me and I'll attempt to answer them for you. First of all, for the new members of the board, Mr. McKenzie and Mr. Ruby, Our annual budget for 2025 was $15,327,703. The average amount, spread out over a month, we anticipated on collecting $1,277,308 a month in revenue. That was the budgeted monthly projection. Today, and for the month of June, we actually collected $1,313,051, which is 55% greater than the annual, the monthly amount we budgeted. So in June, we kind of caught up with prior months because of timing. Our our variances went turned to the positive because we had our first tax distribution in June of 2025. We received one half of the approved tax distribution. That brought us in black in the monthly part of our reporting for June. However, when you move over to the year-to-date portion of the budget to actual in the revenue section, the budget was $7,663,852. That's 6 times the monthly average that we anticipated on capturing for the year. However, year-to-date cumulative revenue was $5,131,27, or 33% below what we projected. But that number would have been much higher had we not had a positive collection amount in June. Moving on from there, if we go down to the expense part of our budget to finance, again, the budget was $15,327,701. During the month of June, we spent $764,361. Or we exceeded the monthly budget. We had a positive number of $548,691. If you look at the top of the going to the revenue section, you can see we collected 1.3 million. We only spent 764,000. So that resulted in, again, on the revenue to expenses, a positive side. That also resulted in a reduction of our deficit projection based upon what we see in the far right-hand side of at the bottom of the report. Our budget right now, we in the deficit. We run a deficit of around 29% year to date for June of $366,144. So that's going to change. Again, it's based on timing. When we receive our final distribution of revenue from the county, our second distribution of tax dollars, that should reduce this projected deficit. So those are the highlights for the month of June. I would also say to the new board members, we're generally running a month behind because the board meeting is the first week, and first Thursday at the end of every month. So we can't report on the current month because of the time limit between the time constraint between the first board meeting and close business for the preceding month. I'm gonna move over to our agent schedule and our bills. If you look at the August, July 8th agent schedule, you'll see our total outstanding invoices to vendors of $259,285. Of that amount, $120,801 was less than 30 days old. That's 46% of the total amount for bills less than 30 days old. We moved to the next category, the 30 to 59 days. We had 5.6% of our invoices in that second category, 30 to 69 days. And if you move to the last over 90 days old, we had a total of $123,981. Now, most of that, $122,833 is a bill that's in dispute with one of our vendors. And that percentage is 47.8%. This particular vendor came out and performed services that they were not authorized to do. And currently our attorney is in communication with this vendor to settle this dispute. I have provided information to her that indicates that they're trying to rely on a purchase order issued in 2013 to justify their charging, what they're charging us. So as you can see, except for the vendor we are currently having a dispute with, our bills are being paid on time, and we have recovered from the cash problem we were having when we had to pay for buses in advance with the Volkswagen funding we had, and it was on a reimbursable basis. It took a little over close to 9 to 10 months for us to get that money back. And so that put us in a crisis for a while. But working together, we got through that. The second thing that affected us was also the ability to find the money in terms of FTA classification in our budgets with our operating assistant line item. We actually ran out of money in that line item. Okay. Moves that have taken place with Mr. Wright's assistant lately have addressed and resolved that issue. Mrs. Dillon spoke earlier about the meeting we had with Nursing. I think I'm saying that right.
You are.
And Portage, where at some point they had switched out funding that they gave us from their budget, and they gave us STBG money, which is Surface Transportation Block Grant money. And we discovered that we couldn't use that money when we applied for an amendment to try and solve our operating assistance problem. And FTA turned around and told us, no, this money, this particular type of funding does not qualify for the line item you're trying to make an amendment for. So at that point, we had to reverse course and find another way to get this done. Mr. Wright, searching through the grants, discovered that we had initially asked for what is it, Dave? The
Congestion mitigation air quality, CMAQ.
yeah, CMAQ money. Excuse my loss of wisdom. But anyway,
It's fine.
we had a meeting with them, and we had a letter to show that we actually asked for CMAQ money, but they gave us STBG money. So that meeting was successful. They agreed to look at that, and on Friday of last week, when we were about to leave, we got the email saying our request had been approved. Now we're going to have sufficient funds not to have to worry about operating assistance expenditures going forward. We're going to have about $8 million to take care of that particular area of expenses. So we are resolving piece by piece the financial puzzle to keep this organization alive and allow us to continue to make the improvements that we need to make to be more efficient, to improve this service locally and region-wide. That's my report.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Washington. And that's some of the very pointed areas there. Remember, he's talking about the federal dollars that we're getting. They're still local match. They're still local match. That's where the board got a little confused before because someone kept saying we had $30 million. You have federal dollars. You now need a match. You can't spend it without the match. So these are very good things to know, but don't just hear dollar signs. What we have to do is find matches $1 to $4. That's how it works. I got to get $1 to spend $4. Okay, it's worth it, but I got to get it. And I say I because that is what your general manager needs to always be about, is making sure that they're getting money into the organization to use the money that's on the books. Okay, thank you. I'm going to move on to procurement. And because you're under finance, I'm going to pull that. What? We're going to hold off because new business, you're going to probably have something to say on that. Planning and marketing.
Yes. Good afternoon to the board. It's not fall enough yet to say good evening, is it? Am I okay saying good afternoon? All right.
No.
All right. I will start with just a quick couple sentence updates before I try to set the table for the service adjustment conversation later on. Ridership up again. I think this is our third month of clear increase in ridership. As we get into the fall and school starts, we're going to see that continue to increase. Got a couple of events this month and one program that's set to start. The air show, obviously, will be providing free transit as well as shuttles like we did last year. We're expecting better weather this year. So in addition to the Thunderbirds, we also have the sun, which is something unusual for the air show weekend. Next week, in your agenda packet, there is an event that is being put on in conjunction with the State of Virginia's Council. It will include an urban hike where we'll be hitting the locations here downtown on the downtown Gary Art and History Fitness Trail. We'll also be previewing some of the video content that we worked with the Visit Miller Beach program, which goes to the point that Ms. Dillard was talking about when it comes to people wanting to know how to use our system to get to destinations. This, I think, was a successful project in Miller. I want to emulate that, even if we have to maybe take the lead a little bit in other areas of Gary, downtown, University Park, because not everything is about Miller. And I say that as a Miller resident. Okay. I also have sent to Ms. Dillard's inbox a draft set of artwork for the shelter program in downtown Gary, Midtown, and in University Park, which will re-enliven the Broadway Metro Express bus stops using funding from the Legacy Foundation and the city's Love Your Block program. As Mr. Washington stated, we have had a lot of movement when it comes to funding. The VW program has been restarted now that we've gotten ourselves current with the payment issues with the first set of electric buses. We had our meeting with Gillick. We included Drive Clean Indiana. We've got a way forward to implementing the next set of alternate fuel vehicles, including hybrid vehicles in this particular case instead of strictly electric buses. 2 federal grants have advanced literally today, literally this afternoon. We got the green light to send a capital grant to the feds for final review for about a bit less than $1 million for buses and improvements to the operations facility. As Mr. Washington mentioned, we've been working with NERC to fix an issue with the federal highway dollars, that CMAQ issue. We were waiting for the green light to use existing documents to write our super grant that would include that funding. That's about $8 million in funding for operating expenses. We got that green light at about 4 o'clock this afternoon. So there are no more barriers to getting that grant pinned, getting some additional operating revenue for our operators, and more revenue, federal revenue for buses. Later on I will be requesting approval by the board for some what we're calling minor but significantly in terms of the impact they're going to make on the organization. Minor service improvements starting in Hammond Whiting and ending this fall on the Broadway corridor primarily. We've talked about these since the spring meetings earlier this year at Jay's Breakfast Club here downtown, and now it's time to implement them. We've got our partner in Calumet College waiting to sign the check for helping us pay for that. And later on, I assume, Ms. Board Chair Hewlett, I'll go into detail on those, or do you want me to do that now? What is your pleasure? I'm not going to get too expansive because we've already talked about this a few times. Now?
No,
Later.
Okay.
Later.
Unless there are any questions, I will withhold the details on the service improvements for later on. If not, that is the plan report.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Thank you. Hearing no questions, I will go on to human resource. Mr. Dennis?
All right. Good evening, Madam Chair and board members. As always, human resources work with operations to make sure we have adequate staff. That's one of our primary goals.
excuse me. We're live streaming and you can hear every whisper and personal conversation. So please, if you have a conversation, you need to take it outside. Thank you.
So as I was saying, we work with operations to keep adequate staffing. We've also collaborated with our former board secretary, Mr. Manuel, in planning our annual financial wellness lunch and learn, which will be held August the 20th. As always, we have two sessions. We have an AM session here at the Metro, which will be from 10 to 12. And then we have an afternoon session that will be at the 35th Operations Facility from and now. We had to have that because the people that's supposed to pay and park on this side were parking over here in our lots. So we had to get adequate signage so they can to stop all the because people park say, well, there's no sign. So the police informed us that we need to get signage back out there, and that's what we did. We collaborated with John Holiday from Work One. And for the Gary Summer Youth Intern Project, as you can see, we have these two young ladies that are interns working with us in our marketing and IT sector. That been doing a great job since they've been here for about a month now. And working on continuing improvements with the ADP platform is what I'm constantly doing. Is on there. Just trying to get all the data uploaded. It's moving the onboarding pieces and all the time slots, time and attendance. We're moving all that and changing all that the way we do it for employees to be able to go through ADP. And it alerts them when there are documents that's incomplete. We had a situation we found out from a former employee that a document was not completed by them. So now his family has to go through some other stuff. So we want to avoid those kind of incidents. And this platform will allow that for us to do. If there's no questions, that's pretty much it.
I'm going to add to Mr. Dennis's report just for your information. Your HR and corporate relations is a very large area. He is the only person in that division. Okay, so what you hear and what you get is a phenomenal piece of work. And he uses tools. That's what he does. He says, if we promise to resource him with the tools he needs, he can save us $200,000. And that's what he's done. So I want to make mention of that because when you're looking and, hearing reports, you say, wow, that really sounds good. And you don't realize there's only one person in that department. Okay, but he has gotten ADP, he has gotten various programs And I will say, we got the recommendation from a board member here who said, why don't you give this particular place a call? And gave us 2 or 3 names to get that going. And we did a look at who would be the best. And we ended up with ADP. Things that happen with that, you find out you get pieces free. So there's a number of things now that we're getting free that we were paying for. And so those are very important things for the board to know. You watch your warranties, you watch your insurances, you look at things that are part of your package. Because no one is selling you just one thing. They're not. They assume that you will not look at it. Okay. Let's go on to bus but hardly used operations.
Good evening, everyone. The operations board report for both transportation and maintenance to basically give you a small look into our ridership. These are the raw numbers that we get from the fare boxes on each vehicle, where we do have a new set of fare boxes. We got a new system by GenFare, which is it has been delivered and we're waiting for them to install it. But a lot of the raw numbers that we have, they're not necessarily the correct numbers based on the fact that some of our older fare box systems, which are obviously they're obsolete. So from that perspective, we do expect soon that the new software and the new fare box system will be installed. As for also, as Ms. Dillon spoke about, just to mention briefly about, it's a juggle each day, because as she said, when you have equipment, and equipment like people sometimes need rest. And a lot of people don't understand with our system, where a vehicle that leaves the 35th Street yard at 4:45 in the morning and does not return until 9:30 at night, and it runs all day long. So from that perspective, and then with the fact that most vehicles, diesel, be it over gasoline, they're meant for really, at some point you got to have highway consistent driving, 65 miles or over. But however, we got stop and go. So the damage that it does to equipment, the average person wouldn't really understand. But we get around it. We pour the rabbits out the hat, so to speak. And we're working through things. Right now, we're in expectation of we're waiting, which we found out that we're going to be getting them to mid-September for new vans, and that will help tremendously with resting some of the vehicles, because they do need rest. One of the bigger issues that we've always dealt with over the years, it's increased a lot this year based on these buses that we got. But however, typically when we put multiple vehicles out, some of the vehicles didn't have AC. So at the beginning of the season, at the beginning of the summer, every vehicle had AC. But when you're dealing with older vehicles, you got other things that come into play. So it's several vehicles that don't have it. AC works sometimes they don't. What we're realizing is destruction inside. They're like we're rotten pieces, condenser falls out, things like that. But the buses are mechanically functioning. But however, the HVAC is not working today. Well, it worked this morning, but this afternoon it went out. So, and we don't want to get into a place where, like, where we'll put a bus out and it's hot. You got different passengers, be it if it's their elderly or if they're whomever it is, children, and then you get in a heat stroke type of thing. So we pull those buses back. So at times where, like, sometimes on our EMS that we run for vehicles or for buses, sometimes it might be cut to 3 or 2 for momentarily, just to give us an opportunity to catch up. Because we don't want to put vehicles out and have people, riders getting on, and they come from a hard day of work and they get on a hot bus. So from that perspective, we're still a work in progress. We're looking. We look further. We look ahead to where it's gonna go. It's a rough ride every day, but anything that goes happen is working hard. So if anybody don't have any questions, then that's my report. All right.
Okay. I'm going to add a little bit on operations. A lot of what you're keeping in mind that we're talking about buses, that even though we just purchased 9, we're talking about buses that were repurposed. And I mention that because it's very easy to go to a website and see a complaint about something. You say, well, didn't you just buy 9 buses? Well, yeah, but we're repurposed busing. That's why we got it for that price. Reconditioned. Thank you. Reconditioned. And the importance of that for our public to know as well is that we also are learning the capacity of that vehicle. And that's what we say, bear with us. We get it. It's not the most comfortable ride if it's a little warm. We didn't know electric buses didn't like electricity. They don't like hot and they don't like cold. Well, that's the bottom line. Electric buses don't like it hot and they don't like it cold. Midwest, you just can't be that persnickety. You got to be able to roll in the worst of conditions and the best of conditions, i.e., going to hybrids. We'll look at a couple, but we got to be able to get buses that can rest and buses that can take their place while they're resting. So that's an economic issue that also is about knowing the human condition and being able to know your environmental impact and still being relevant to that. So we are working towards that, and I appreciate that. Also, operations is a lot in looking at how to restore that 35th building. And most people have never stepped into. So you're like, well, you store barn, it's the bus barn, you store buses. No. It's a building that had 100 buses at one time. That's a lot of space. And it's a lot of space where things haven't been kept up, i.e. lighting. And I give them 200% credit on going after NIPSCO to make sure that we have that lighting. They start Tuesday on it? Are we gonna do that before we do the roof?
They're coming out for preliminary walkthrough.
Got it. And the reason we ask those questions, obviously, is we don't want to do things twice. So I have a team that we can say to each other, take a look at this. I see this, what do you see? Because at the end of the day, if I've got to sign 2 checks that are fixing the old problem and you made it another problem, because we didn't look at all the pieces, then that's a problem. But we did find that we had a roofing issue in there, and it's a metal roof, which nobody realized that who didn't know the building. Mr. Stewart knew it. He knew it right away. He said, the ceiling is metal, right? No. Okay, so going back and taking a look at all that, bringing in our project lead, Mr. Pruitt, on construction, he said, you got a metal roof. But you would not have known that had we not had the leak and someone hadn't gone up there to look at it. So that's all I'm saying. We find out things because not all of us have the archives in our system, in our experience. So we're very grateful for that. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Anything else, transportation? You guys are good? All right. So I'm going to switch over to IT. I saw you a minute ago. There you go. All right.
Hello, board. Good evening.
Good evening.
In IT, we had our first live stream last month. We saw that the audio after the live stream, the audio needed to be improved. I've been listening, that's why I have earpieces in my ear now. The audio is much better than the last live stream. We still got some bugs to work out. It's going to be something that we'll probably fine tune over the next couple of months, but I think we're probably ahead of most people. Our interns have made credit reels and tickers and things of that nature for the live stream, so we have all that functionality. They've actually been doing reels and things, making those over the week. So you'll start to see that on the website, social media, bringing that to the website. I am working out some bugs with the website. Hopefully I will have that up and running and everything by Tuesday of next week. We're installing a new firewall. We are planning a rebuild because we do have the Gen Fair piece, which will coincide with, the announcement of those features that the website is going to be a key piece of. Speaking of Gen Fair is on track. We should have installs starting within the next 2 to 4 weeks. Okay. Once they do that, we will be in a place where we will be in testing mode. And we should have those pieces started in the next 2 to 4 weeks. Some things that we've done, of course, everyone knows the AC has been out, so I had to run new network cable to run temporary offices on the second floor, so that we can keep everything going, finance, procurement, the board secretary, even planning. We moved everyone down to the second floor, brand new wiring with temporary cubicles. Social media strategy, we will be working with Mr. Wright, with the interns, and really just kind of trying, because social media is one of those things that you have to kind of feed with constant media, outside of the announcements, but people like to see different videos and things of that nature. So we've taken trips from here to Lake County, did what we call can't think of it right now because I'm on the spot. But, it's where you do a fast forward motion, and they've done some creative stuff that you guys will start to see pretty soon. Driver lounge, we have given them access. So now the driver lounge has a new secure door with access control. Okay. So far, everyone is able to enter with no problems. And as far as the board, I know you all need access badges. So what you all would have to do is meet with Ms. Dorothy Simmons. She will take your photo, give you an access badge, give me the codes, and then I will give you access and clearance to the conference rooms and things of the places that you guys frequent. And if there aren't any other questions, that's all I have right now.
Thank you, Mr. Burton. If there are no questions of the board, we will say thank you very much to the staff. Thank you for all of your cooperation and consideration during the times when we had 100 degrees inside and out. And I appreciate that because no one asked me, could they go home? They asked me, what do you want us to do? And so everyone agreed, you need to stay here, you need to get the work done, let's shift. And so I appreciate it. We got it done, and we had a whole lot of time pieces that fell, and all the dollars came to fruition because everybody carried their weight. Mr. King.
Buses, in total, maybe between 19 and 21.
21. How many are on the road?
15.
Okay, that's really the question. How many are moving? And that means that those are not impossible to move, but there's issues that we've got to get done. The mechanics are working on. There might be one that you have to put out, like we had a van. This just out. So like you're down to one van, which is crazy for this area. So that's why we're talking about ordering 16.
For the operation that we do, how many do we need?
You need about 35. If you're hitting the routes that you're talking about. If you're talking about doing things with a half hour versus an hour, like the BMX, yes, it goes from 4th to 100 or 92nd, but there's a time when it needs to do that with a rapid response because people are trying to get to work and then trying to get home from work. Strax called us to ask could we extend our hours to 11 o'clock because they close at 10. So that was on 61st. Then we got another call from the Strax in Hamlet asking could we stay open until 11 o'clock because it's their employees. Would they take the bus there? They need to be able to get home. And the other place that asked us about some things were employees that work at Sam's, which is actually in Hobart. And so they were also asking that, and they were going to talk to Mayor Josh to, kind of say, yeah, we really would like to get more transportation from the regional surface transit organization. Because a lot of people don't even know that's Gary. They just know that it's surface transit.
Are there any plans to work to keep moving?
Absolutely. That's what the money that they were reporting on today, that we're talking about our forecast and our budget for 2030 forecast. We're looking at 30 buses and 16 ADA vans. Thank you. Any questions, board? Hearing none, Madam President, thank you very much.
I'd like to thank Mrs. Dillard, and most of all, I'd like to thank each staff member, because I know it's a struggle out in the bus barn. It's hot, 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 hot out there. And we continue to work and get the buses out. And the board just thanks each and every one. And I know it's been awfully hot up here on the 3rd floor, but the 2nd floor, thank you so very much, Mr. LeBaron, for moving all that stuff, because I know it wasn't easy. You had to rewire, but thank you. Just thank everybody for what they do every day. I'll entertain a motion to accept the reports.
Madam Chair, so moved.
Thank you.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we accept the reports as presented. Are there any questions? No, ma'am. No, not from you. Any questions, board? There being none, roll call.
Board President Hewitt,
Yes.
Board Secretary Goffin,
Yes.
Board Member Ruby,
Yes.
Board Member Robinson,
Yes.
Board Member Scott Henry,
Yes.
Board Member McKenzie,
Yes.
Board Member Tolbert.
Yes.
We have 7 yeses.
Motion is approved. I'd like to just allow one little item. We have two, and please forgive me, we have 2 new board members. We have Mr. Preston Ruby and we have Mr. Bruce McKenzie, and they are brand new. Today is their first meeting, and we'd like to welcome you to the board. And outgoing, we have Mr. Anthony Manuel, and he's sitting in the back. And Anthony and Sharon, we'd like to thank you as the board for all the hard work. And I mean, you both worked very hard on this board for years, and we thank you. And I'm so glad to see you at the meeting. And I'm also glad to see that you're going to continue to work with us for financial wellness. That's part of that's his thing.
That's who he is.
And he's going to continue to do that with us and partner with us. And we thank you so very much, Mr. Manuel. You know, call me if you need me. Thank you so much, sir. We're going to move on to item number 6, old business. Mr. Wright.
Yes. I'll be brief, but I'm going to go down each of the service changes for our request and action from the board for the new board members and from members of the public. This spring, we requested review of a total of 6 adjustments to our system that are minor in that they don't require a public hearing. However, we did put everything out for public comment, and we also discussed all of these in specifics this spring ahead of this fall's request for implementation. For one, we'll be increasing frequency on the Lakeshore North, which goes to Calumet College, from every 2 hours to every hour. This is in conjunction and partnership with Calumet College, as a matter of fact. And as part of that, we'll also be increasing frequency on the Lakeshore South, which goes from downtown Hammond into Highland and Munster. We'll also be making a slight adjustment to 3 routes, 2 routes in terms of their routing. L1, which is the West Central Grant Street route, will go, instead of stopping at IU Northwest and IU Tech, it'll be going all the way to King Drive. It's already got the recovery time to make that adjustment. So that route will be extended that little bit. And we'll also be extending Route R2, the US 30 shuttle, from Meyer, which is its current western terminus, to the Lake County Library. This has been something that we've been asked about for years, and I'm really happy that we're finally able to get that done. So thank you to the people who've been asking for it, and of course, the operations staff, which took a look at, my scribbles on the map and said, yeah, we could do that. We will also be making routes L4, which is University Park, and R5, the Maryville shuttle, more efficient by combining them without losing frequency. The reason why we're going to be able to do that is we're going to be eliminating some areas of those services that no one's been using, pretty literally. So some of that's going to be taken over by the L1. Some of that is going to be taken over by the US 30 shuttle when it goes all the way down to the Lake County Library. But that will allow us to cover that area in University Park and in Maryville a lot more efficiently when there are issues with service, when it comes to, some of the vehicles that we have for lease, if there's a breakdown. Using fewer buses on that service without eliminating service gives us the ability not to have to actually lose coverage. And that's the most important thing. Lastly, on the Broadway Metro Express, it was designed for 20-minute service when we launched that in 2018. The pandemic forced us to go hourly. We brought that up to 30 minutes in 2023, and now we'll have the ability to go to 20-minute service again. A combination of going back to Express primarily, and also alternating between the Lake County Government Center and the Purdue campus out at 101st. So we'll be maintaining the coverage and alternating those southern termini, but by that increasing frequency greatly without spending more money, which is pretty much our goal, to try to be a lot more efficient with the resources that you have given us. What I am requesting is approval of 2 sets of changes. One, a pretty immediate change in frequency to the R4 and the R6, which will allow us to serve Calumet College with hourly service when classes begin next year. Thank you very much. Actually, the 25th. We're going to start before classes begin.
I know, but
Right.
the system gonna start on the 18th.
Right. So the first system will be in place a week before classes start. That will be an August service change. In October or November is when we will be implementing all of the other service changes: the L4, the R5, the L1, the R2, and the BMX. I know, a lot of numbers and a lot of letters, but basically we're making a better system. Okay. All of this is in your board packet for the public. If you want to request a copy of these service changes, I'll have them available after the meeting. But doing those changes in October, November, allows our operations staff the ability to make sure our buses are ready for that change, make sure our drivers are ready for that change, and more importantly, using some marketing assistance, make sure the public is educated about how these changes are going to benefit them. They're not losing service, they're gaining a lot of service. We'll be going into Calumet Township near the, what's the name of the shopping center on 55? I don't know why this escapes me right now.
Oh, no,
Next to the church.
yeah, Big Daddy.
There you go. I was thinking Big Daddy's, but I'm hungry, so, Right.
Yeah, that's
Right now, we don't serve
Family
that
Christian
area.
Center.
Once we make this change, we'll be serving that area.
That's Cleveland.
There you go. There you go. Right. So
Big Daddy.
these service changes are not going to, they're neutral in terms of cost. More coverage, more frequency at the same price. With that, I'll entertain any questions, and if no questions, I will request a motion on approval of the service changes.
Are there any questions from the board? There being none, I'll entertain a motion.
So move. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second that we have approved,
Implement the service changes as
implemented service
identified.
changes as well as public information.
Oh, right, we will be, going out to the public to inform them of these changes in addition to traditional and social media. We are going to be on the road.
So how you get the public feedback?
We will be setting up tables at existing events and creating events. We're going to go back to Jay's Breakfast Club. We are planning an event at Calumet College that may include an on-board tutorial for students and faculty of the college. We are going to be at the Fest in the First in the First District when that event takes place, and probably inviting additional comment here at board meetings. We did have a 3-week public comment period that was announced on social media, on the website. We didn't get any comments.
It was advertised.
It was advertised, yes. Yes.
What I want you to say.
Right. There you go. However, I will mention that these are legally minor changes and that we didn't have to have a separate public hearing because of the amount of changes that we're making. We're eliminating service, aren't raising fares. So what we're doing now is above and beyond the call. Yeah,
Providing information.
exactly.
Roll call.
Board President Hewlett,
Yes.
Board Secretary Goffin,
Yes.
Board Member Ruby,
Yes.
Board Member Robinson,
Yes.
Board Member Scott Henry,
Yes.
Board Member McKenzie, Board Member Tolbert. We have 7 yeses.
Motion approved. Go forth, young man.
I'm seldom called young man anymore, so
Okay, that was our old business. Item number 7, new business.
Madam Chair, I move that we table the new business item for review by the Finance Committee and the report will return to the board.
Do I have a second? It's been moved and properly second that item number 7 will be sent to the Finance Committee for review and brought back to the board. Are there any questions? There being no question, no discussion, roll call, please, ma'am.
Board President Hewlett,
Yes.
Board Secretary Goffin,
Yes.
Board Member Ruby,
Yes.
Board Member Robinson,
Yes.
Board Member Scott Henry,
Yes.
Board Member McKenzie,
Yes.
Board Member Tolbert.
Yes.
Motion is approved. It will be tabled and sent to the Finance Committee for discussion. Okay. There being no other business, we have public comment. I'm
I got it right.
I'm sorry?
You did second it.
Yes, yeah, we're good.
Public comment, number 8. Do we have a sheet with names on it for public comment?
It's up and back for signatures.
Would you please, sir? What's going on?
I got it.
You have,
I got the 2 minutes. No comments?
no. Thank you, sir. Mr. Manning,
Madam President, I'll go last.
okay. Mr. Matthews. You have 2 minutes, sir.
Good evening, board members and ladies and gentlemen. I addressed the issue before, about 10 years ago. I'm concerned about the bus routes. There should reroute the buses. Have to go down a 6, 7, and 8. They go east and go west. And more Bevel and more population. He's on the west side, Washington Street. you know, and I feel it. And could do a survey, saying so many people go have small buses without these streets. I'm suggesting do that. I said it about 10 years ago, and I think maybe it's get the down and sharing it. They didn't use it. So, yeah. Well, thank you.
Can they
Thank
hear them on the audio? Okay.
Thank you. Our favorite friend. No, Mr. No, Mr. Norwicky. Jim, we haven't seen you in a while. But come on. Yeah, because we're gonna need you to come stand forward because they can't hear you. Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Good evening to the board. I'm Kevin McKinney. I'd like to welcome the new board members. I hope you enjoy your time on the board. I got a couple of issues I want to bring out. This was the issue I told Natalie and Leonard on WLTH this morning on the radio I was going to bring out. I've been riding some of the buses and the bell is not ringing. The buzzer, you have to let the driver know where you want to get off. Sometimes they have to pass your stop. And I was wondering, will Ruben and the maintenance people check the bells in buses? But some of the buses, they're not working. And Mr. Wright, I know I asked you this question before about the Saturday service. You told me about the local funding. How much money would you need to increase Saturday service?
You forgot to remind me to do that calculation before this meeting. We'll talk next week.
And is there the next meeting is going to be what, September 4th?
Yes.
Okay, I did request that day off because I have to get dates off to go to certain things. That's it.
And thank you, Mr. McKinney. It's no wacky. Where have you been? It's been 2 years or more.
Yes.
How you doing?
Very good. Good afternoon, directors. Madam President, my name is Jim Nowacki. I'm a regular rider of the Gary Public Transportation Corporation and a ardent supporter. I want to offer encouragement to the new board members and to the otherwise serving board members. I have to remind the board that your responsibilities here are very important. There are many members of our community who not only depend on the services of the Gary Public Transportation Corporation, but in many instances, their lives depend on it for services getting to their doctors, going to grocery shopping, etc., and maybe even getting to church once in a while. So the service provided is very, very important. I would make one suggestion, and it's a suggestion that I've been making for many years, recognizing that one of the least expensive ways to advertise important services is with signage. And one of the things that I notice in our system is that bus stops are not identified. And with all of the changes coming, and I think changes and improvements to the service, it's important that there be that the signage not only to identify the stop, but to also advertise the services. Many people who don't know where the buses go, and when you get off, and the buses sometimes make an odd route that is not predictable. It's not like Chicago where he goes down one street and then goes down another street. So I know this is another expense, but I think it's an expense that can be justified because it advertises the service and provides the opportunity for people to understand, not have to question, not have to ask a lot of questions, but can simply know where those stops are. In my own personal riding the bus, sometimes I'll stand at a bus stop year after year after year and get the bus, and then I'll stand out at one time and a new bus driver will say, that's not a bus stop. So I think we could, I think if we recognize the importance of that, something the board could consider, and I think it would be a big improvement for the service. Thank you.
Okay, Mr.
Can I address that? He has the size. We have the size. We will start putting them out. We're getting the tape together now.
I'm surprised that I own
They are in.
We reacted to you that quickly. We
That's
had-
right.
Y'all brought it up early. It was.
That's great.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nolan. Ms. Matthews.
Hi, my name is Matthew. I've been here at resident for over 3 decades now. But what I want to know, first off, he touched also rerouting the buses. We need the bus to be rerouted. Quite often I find people that here have been here about 30 years or so, and they say they want to ride the buses, but the bus should be rerouted. I'd like to be a part of this here. You should get people on the outside coming in and dictating how we ride. Don't let other people dictate how we live and how we ride, what ride buses. Let the community decide what bus route would be best served them. I would like to see that. I'd like to be a part of it. That's all I hear people saying. Oh, yeah, most people come out here, they don't even live here. You know, that's us. We don't need nobody else governing how we ride the buses. You would improve the routes if you would and change the routes. You would believe you would see the difference in turn about. Because a lot of people don't ride because there's nothing there. There's nothing. And when you find bus like several days ago, this happened at hour 3, and the bus, I waited about an hour and a half, due to about several years ago, you might say, I love driving. And believe me, I was a hit and run. I didn't have no showing. I don't know who hit me, but I was hit him, I was knocked out. But I walked away from the accident. So I'm gonna put down until I get another car. But put aside that, quite often I hear people say, oh, I want to ride it, but they don't ride where, like you said, sign. There's no sign there. But like I waited for at least an hour and a half. While I was called by another rider, said R3, we only got 1 bus instead of 2. We actually have 2. It happened. I believe that was a few days ago. It happened. So and I said, what are we gonna do? So I just got out and started walking. It's at 11th and Broadway, where the old Popeye used to be. They ain't got no buses. We short. That was the end of that conversation. And she took the initiative and said, let's see what we could do to bring about. There were several of us waiting for the buses, and we just started walking. Nobody asked how we went home. It's not right. But let's use people that live here dictate how we live, not others. I would like to see that, and I'd like to be a part of it. I can leave my phone number. I don't have no problem with that. I'd like to be a part of it. We don't tear down what we don't have.
Ma'am, your time is up.
Okay, that's it. Can I say one more sentence?
No, ma'am, your time is up.
Okay.
No,
I'm
ma'am,
here.
your time is up. Thank you so very much. Thank you. You can always address that in writing and send it to Gary Public Transportation. Just address it to. You can send it right up here. What is it? I don't know. So, Mr. Manuel, do I have anybody else? I don't see anybody else on sign up. Mr. Manuel.
Good evening, board, and good evening, public, and good evening, GPTC leadership. I just wanted to express my gratitude and thanks for being able to serve on this board. I have to say, I have never been a part of a more resilient corporation than what you folks have in GPTC. I know the public is very passionate about service and very passionate about routes. The operations is very passionate about keeping buses on the street. Ms. Dillard is very passionate about making sure we have the revenue coming in and funding to get buses. And the board is passionate about pushing legislation through so that we can provide this service to the city of Gary. So my heart is full. I mean, honestly, being able to serve and being chosen by the Gary County Council to serve. I thank the city. I thank GPTC. I thank the public. I thank the leadership. And I wish you new board members all of the success that you need. If I could be of any assistance going forward, if you don't know me, again, my name is Anthony Manuel. I was the board chair, and I was the finance chair and the secretary of the board for the past 4 years. And it's been an absolute privilege to serve with you all. I mean, I'm on my heart. Thank you.
She used smaller buses, that would happen.
Ma'am, that's enough. That's enough. Mr. Manley, you know how I feel. And you have just contributed quite a bit to this corporation, and we appreciate you. And like I said before, we appreciate the fact that you're gonna continue to work with us in any capacity that you can. And we're mighty, mighty grateful, because you didn't have to do it and you don't have to do it. Board members?
So moved.
Also,
Got a second.
that we realized that there's been a mistake, and forgive me. Board meetings will be at 5:30 p.m. I understand that that's what's on the website, and that's what we've been posting. I don't know how it got that way. It was supposed to be 6, but 5:30, please. And we're gonna circulate that around. I'm gonna make sure it's 5:30. Thank you so very much. You all have don't forget the air show this weekend.
All right.
Please don't forget it.
Is the scale bomber gonna be there?
Huh?
Is the scale bomber gonna be there?
Yeah, me.
You say, "Deal, boom."
No, I saw the scale. I saw the scale bomber.
Thank you all.